Here, Jay Karutz from Australia. Talk about a little bit of your experience in the States and a little bit of your performance today.
It was a pretty long flight out. We performed pretty well over the last 5 or 6 days with the National Elite Camp with Kohls here first, and then transferred over to the scholarship guys about 3 days ago. So I've been doing a fair bit of punting, and yeah, punted pretty well yesterday morning, and got up a few reasonably good numbers there, and juice has come out in my leg a little bit after 6 days of training, but yeah, today wasn't too bad either, so it's alright.
Talk a little bit about you moved from the elite guys to the scholarship guys. It's a true honor to be at a camp like this. Talk a little bit about your whole experience.
Certainly transferring from the elite guys to the scholarship guys, it's been probably a bit of a transition in terms of the intensity. Obviously the college elite guys are a bit more focused. Everyone's a bit more probably sort of aiming for goals a bit more. There's a few guys here that in the scholarship one with the high school kids that are just probably just not quite switched on as much as those guys are. They've got their numbers on the board. If anything, there's probably a few guys here that are actually better than some of the college guys. But yeah, no, so I'd say that's probably the biggest difference is the intensity of the competition. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about the competition and a few things you're taking away from some of these other athletes that you can use towards your own game.
Yeah, sure. Well, basically, like pretty much only probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, we decided to ask Kohls if it was worthwhile to come out. We just basically wanted kicks and just chucked it on YouTube and made a email to Jamie Kohl and said, look, it's worthwhile coming out, and he said, yeah, sure. So 6 weeks ago we booked in, and basically we came out here. So we did about 5 or 6 weeks worth of training and came out and posted these numbers. So if someone's willing to give me a opportunity, I'd be pretty excited about 6 months worth of training and coming back and really giving it a really decent crack. So I think most of these guys have been doing it.
Talk a little bit about the transition of American football over in Australia compared to it's way played over here. Kind of elaborate a little bit on that.
Australian rules football is played on an oval which is approximately probably 2.5 NFL fields long, 1.5 NFL fields wide. It's an extremely aerobic game. Players can be running anywhere from 15 to 25 to 30 kilometres in a game. It's like 20 miles. So they really are extremely fit. They're not quite as big as a few of these boys, like these high school boys here. Most of these guys are actually probably physically bigger than I am, so it's really not a consequence of me being just a touch older than these boys, which gets me up in the numbers, because a lot of these boys here are a lot bigger than I am. So, but yeah, probably the biggest transition is the aerobic to the anaerobic factors of the sport. NFL's anaerobic factors are probably a lot higher. They're a lot more powerful athletes. I've probably got an advantage over most AFL guys, being that I'm actually a sprinter as well. So I'm actually capable of probably matching it with most of these blokes for speed. So yeah, I've transitioned pretty well. Probably the biggest thing is with AFL and kicking, it's a lot more of a precision game. They care probably more about hitting a target or moving targets similar to a quarterback while punting, as opposed to here where you're just kicking it high and long. So if I could transfer a few of those skills to kick the ball down to the coffin corner, as these boys are calling it, I think it'll work out pretty well.
If you got the opportunity with a scholarship, to come play college football over here, what would that mean to you?
It's pretty hard to express, but I'd probably be crying for a little bit. It's been a long road. For all the probably similar sort of situation to what these guys in with Australian rules football in Australia. I was probably in their shoes, trying to play football in Australia to get an opportunity to play at the national level. Made all the state teams, which is basically in Australia they have a comp where the 7 states, the best players, probably the best 24 players in each state play a national competition. When I was 18, I was pretty close to being in those squads. Was in those squads, didn't make the final team, but was in all the training, went to the actual national competition, just around water for the boys, and just to be part of the team. But yeah, this would be a pretty massive thing for me. I would give it absolutely everything. To be able to get the opportunity to go to a college here and play football as well, and to get a full-ride education, it's unparalleled. I think a lot of these boys don't quite realise, especially at the high school level, just being a touch younger, I think they don't quite realise what this could mean to them. So yeah.
Talk a little bit about J.B. Kohl and how he's influenced you and impacted you.
He's been fantastic. Just his whole demeanour, his professionalism. We sat down probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, just going through the list of camps. Obviously, the Chris Summer camp and a few other camps like that, and just going through the numbers and just seeing which camps we thought would suit me best. And basically, we came to the conclusion that Jamie's camp looked the most professional. So we thought, well, let's give it a crack, and we came out here and trying to post some good numbers. So I think really the fact is that Jamie Kohl, he just seems to be really switched on the ball. He's got all the right things going for him in terms of the way the camp's set out, and really the boys, they really respond to him. He's a good bloke.
And last question: what are a few things that off the field to make you a better player out in the field?
Obviously the punting side of things. The torpedo punt, or the spiral kick that is the predominant kick of punting out here, is pretty much outlawed in Australian Australian rules football, purely as more of a party trick, purely because of the fact that it's so inaccurate and the game is based around accuracy in Australia. So it really has taken me pretty much all 5 of the weeks that I've been training to actually try and get it up to scratch to compete with some of these boys, because some of these boys, even though they're 18, it's phenomenal the amount of stuff they can do with the football in terms of the torpedo or the spiral punts. So really that would be my key thing. I would, over the next probably 5 to 6 months, up until the period for the 2010 intake, would be just seriously working on that with I've got a coach back in Australia called Adam Kohls. He was a punter for Connecticut for 4 years. I think he finished up in 2003, 2004. So we've really been working on that over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and we would continue to work on that. And I don't think I'd be just pretty much smashing myself into the ground to make sure I could get up to scratch.
I gotta ask this question: what does your family and friends think about you? You know, just hopping over the states and taking an adventure. That they're probably like, okay, like what's their thoughts?
Parents are 100% behind me. All of the family is 100% behind me. Dad's come over with me for this camp. I was originally going to go by myself, but Dad's taken time off work to come over and just really be a supporter base for me here. All of my mates back in the footy team, have really been really positive behind me. I stopped playing footy when I decided to come over about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and that's also been a big help in terms of the physical draining of that particular game being so aerobic. But they've all been really massively behind me. They've just been really pumping me up, and just been sending me emails all week since I've been here, just saying, oh, make sure you just kick their ass and things like that. So it's been really 100% positive, really. It's just obviously the Australian sarcasm. I like to give blokes a little bit of a nudge in the guts every so often. So, but that's just how we are. So we just basically feed off each other's enthusiasm. So it's been really good. There's been no negative stuff at all. Just keep pumping me up, and it's been a really good supporter base.
Thank you very much.